Right, so we've spoken about retention and retaining existing members, but what about now the growth of new members, getting new blood into the chapter, getting new people to want to become part of our wonderful family and our organization, growing our network? Well, the growth of new members starts with the contact spheres. They're really, really important. You need to have balanced contact spheres and have a balanced chapter. What do I mean? Well, think about that. How many of you have been to chapters or in chapters where the trades, and I'm not picking on them, but they generally are the largest contact sphere? So you've got your plumber, your electrician, your tiler, your roofing guy, your solar guy, your landscaper, your home automation. It's a large list. There's a lot of them, and it tends to be a very, very big contact sphere. While right at the other end of the scale, we have your health and wellness, and in your health and wellness, we have your Herbalife and your Herbalife. So you don't have a very big contact sphere in the health and wellness. And the thing about the health and wellness contact sphere is it can tend to bring a lot of referrals. But think about a physio. The physio now comes and visits the chapter and goes, "Ooh, there's a lot of trades guys there. I can't do business with trades guys." And they don't even think about becoming a member because they don't know that, in fact, it's not the trades guys, but the people behind the trades guys, their network that they want to speak to. That's not what they see. They kind of see, Herbalife, that's all I see. No, this isn't a home for me. And that's sad because, in fact, there could be a lot of value in having the physio there, especially for guys who fall off ladders and things like that. The physios are good, but at the end of the day, that's what they see. And these top heavy contact spheres tend to put a lot of new members off or new visitors off. On the other end, your health and wellness person, your Herbalife kind of guy doesn't feel the love. And if they don't feel the love, they're not going to renew. So you need to look at your chapters and you need to look at your contact spheres. And when you look at your contact spheres, see the ones that are the biggest. Don't grow them. Now, I'm not saying don't ever grow them, but the focus needs to be on growing ones that are just not big enough. And then everybody helps that one grow. And then go to the next smaller one and the next smaller one until you get to the smallest. And then everybody in the chapter is helping to grow the smallest contact sphere. It's a presentation I do called Wheels on the Bus, or the Fear of 40. And I'll probably do a video on it so that you guys can see how important a balanced chapter with balanced contact spheres is. Now, what else do we need to know about contact spheres? Well, the thing is that we don't need to have 10 contact spheres. Now, there is your financial, your health and wellness, your real estate, your trades, your marketing, your wedding. That's already 6. Okay. And there's a whole bunch more of contact spheres. You don't need to have a lot of contact spheres in your chapter. Contact spheres, remember, as I said, grow chapters. So the focus should be on maybe having 4 to start off with, but 4 solid contact spheres. Those are the ones that are going to help you grow your chapter. And how do you do it? Well, as a growth coordinator, go to the contact sphere that's the smallest, or go to the contact sphere you want to grow and say, tell us who you're looking for and tell us how to invite them. Why do we say that? Well, you see, a contact sphere is like a country. They have their own language. They speak the same talk. They speak the same speak. So the health and wellness, they talk body. They talk about everything and anything to do with body. The financial guys, they talk finances. They talk interest rates and bond rates and all sorts of stuff like that. Your trades guys, they talk technical stuff, which some of us don't need to necessarily know or don't really understand. They do. So we need to ask them, let us help you grow, but you need to tell us who you're looking for and how we find them for you and how we invite them. So that's about balanced contact spheres. The next element is the visitor experience, the actual experience, the visitor host program. Now, as growth coordinators, bear in mind that what's happening is that in order for the chapter to grow, people need to be doing their stuff properly. And if your visitor hosts are not doing their stuff, although people are inviting, the visitors don't tend to be coming. If they don't tend to come, well, it looks bad on you because you're the one who's supposed to be growing the chapter. Well, that's your role. You're not growing it by yourself, you're growing it with the chapter. But it's people like the visitor hosts that help you grow the chapter. So when does the program kick in? Well, it kicks in when you have invited, or somebody's invited and registered a visitor, or the visitors registered themselves. What happens? Boom! Email goes off to visitor host, and the email says, you have a visitor coming. That's when the visitor hosts go, yes, let's get going. Let's get this process in motion. Let's bring that person there. And what do? They phone them. They pick up this thing here called the phone, and they phone them. They speak to them, a real person. Because when they do that, the first thing that happens is that the visitor kind of goes, oh, it's not just an automated email. There's actually a person on the other side that's expecting me. So they are bringing that little bit of obligation into the process. So the person picks up the phone and goes, hi, Tony. I got an email that you're going to be joining us at our chapter on our chapter meeting on Thursday. We are so excited to have you there and excited to see you. Tell me a little bit about yourself. What do you do? So the second thing is, by asking them what they do, the visitor host is starting to think, who can I connect them up with them at the chapter? Who do I, on our WhatsApp group from the chapter, go, hey, listen, everybody, okay, we have an IT guy coming. Or, hey, listen, Joan, we have an IT guy coming and they would really connect well with you. That's what the visitor host is starting to think. They're starting to think about, who do I connect them with in the chapter when the person arrives to come and visit. The next thing they're going to ask them is, tell me something. How do you spell your name? Don't you want to spell your name out for me, please? Just want to make sure that I've got it correct. Why do we do that? Well, the first reason is because the visitor might not have registered themselves. It might have been the person who invited them, and they might not actually know their spelling or the correct spelling. Now, know something. A person's name is their own. They own it. And some people get pretty offended if you get their name wrong, which is understandable. So get the spelling of the name. If it's one of those strange spelt names, okay, like Siobhan, if people have ever tried to spell the word Siobhan, ask them how to pronounce it, just so that you've got it right, and then write it out phonetically, so that when the person arrives, you've got that name and that's pronunciation spot on. It also helps for your president if you give them the name, that the presidents can know the name up front as well. What we're doing, we're building a relationship already. We're making the person feel like they're at home. So we got the name, we've written it down, and then we say, tell me something. These are our menu options. These are the things that we have at our chapter for breakfast. You're trying to avoid oh, I'm sorry, I don't eat breakfast. Because you can stop that right there and then. Well, you don't eat breakfast, that's great. We do lovely takeaway. And is there something special that, if possible, we can accommodate you? Now, we're not going for the whole kosher, halal, vegan, the whole tutti, right? Sometimes you can, a lot of times you can't. Sometimes there are plans that can be made. You're making the person feel that you're listening to what their needs are. And you can upfront say, look, there's certain things that are not going to be possible. Can we make a plan? So that's really important. The next thing you're going to ask them is, or before you end, is you're going to say to them, tell me something. Is there somebody you're going to bring with you? Makes a person go, oh, I didn't know I could. Absolutely. For two reasons. One, it makes the person feel, oh, you don't have to go on my own. I can bring my boss, who might be the decision maker. Or I can bring my sister, because she's in another business, because I don't feel like going on my own. Now I've been told I can bring somebody. I've been given permission. Fantastic. Do me a favor. Please give me their names and telephone numbers so that I can phone them and make contact with them as well. That's helping to grow the business. That's helping to grow the network. That's bringing in more people. So that's what you're going to end with. And we're looking so forward to seeing you on Thursday. It's 7:15. Don't forget to bring business cards, because we're going to be doing networking. That's what we're there to do. Okay, so that's the pre-meeting call. Now, what about the meeting? Well, if your venue's not that easy to get into, okay, maybe it's a hotel, is there somebody waiting for them in the parking lot? What if it's raining? Is there somebody waiting with an umbrella to greet them at the parking lot? That smiling face that said, Tony, welcome, we're expecting you. Tony goes, okay, they really are expecting me. Okay. Is there, if it's a hotel, is there a thing at the bottom of the lifts, that a button on the lift that says BNI networking top floor? That's where the networking goes. All right, obviously if you're on the top floor. But at the end of the day, is there signage? Is there adequate signage? When they step out the lift, is it say BNI to the right? And when they get there, is it a case of hi, you are Siobhan or Tony, welcome. The name badge is there, ready, waiting for them. They need to know that people are expecting them. So the person arrives, and let's get the niceties over. Let's get the admin over. Let's take your seating fee quickly. We've got your breakfast. We're just confirming you're having this breakfast. Fantastic. Let me introduce you something, and they can bring you coffee. And from that moment, the next visitor host, which is the entire chapter, kicks in. They're the ones that are going to make the people feel welcome. They want to stay there. Kind of go, wow, look at all these people. The amount of times that people will tell us, I walked in really nervous, but everyone set my mind at ease. I felt like this is a family. Everyone wanted to know about me. Everyone wanted to talk to me. It was easy for me. That is when the person will put in an application form. So that's what happens before the meeting. During the meeting, you make sure that you take them to a seat that's put between two good members. It's critical. Two good members, not just anybody. Because when they're good members, they will guide them through the meeting. Shh, don't worry, you don't have to talk now. They'll call you up when it's your turn. Prep the person. Do you know you've got to do a 60-second? Okay, you got to talk to us for 60 seconds. Because a lot of times people haven't been told that. So it's prepping the person and having them sit next to two good members during the meeting. Does the visitor get their breakfast first, or generally they're the last person to get it? Well, you should try and get it out to them first. They're the special guests. They're the ones who we're kind of doing the meeting for. So if possible, try and get them to get their food right and first. Very, very important. And then after the meeting. Now, we've appreciated them. The president has asked the visitors to stand up. We've all clapped to them and said, welcome. Thank you very much for joining us today, for taking time to be with us today. We're really excited. What we're going to do is we're going to take you out to the room now. And that's where the next part of the visitor program kicks in. The closer. Your closer needs to be fantastic. They need to be on point, because otherwise, if they aren't, I've seen too many times where the closer talks the deal off the table. You need that closer to be there. That closer needs to be on point and needs to be correct. So really, really important to get your closer and the closing right. The last element is the growth mindset. The chapter has to be wanting to grow. They need, if they don't want to grow, it shows. Visitors arrive and there's no welcoming. They don't feel like they're wanted there. They feel like they're out of the thing. There are circles and they're not part of the circle. The circle never opens up to accept them in. I've been to chapters like that as a director. I've been there where I felt, they don't even want me here. And I know what the deal is. So that growth mindset, as growth coordinators, it is your role not to grow the chapter, because it's everybody's role to grow the chapter. It's your role to instill a growth mindset.